Hello and welcome to week 2 of our EDU course, and I want to kind of introduce and go through some things this week, looking at our week 2 assignments and tasks for week 2. Just kind of keep in mind that we start our collaborative communications by having our teachers review, that's you, the students, review our discussion this week. And so I'm going to share with you our schedule to make sure that everyone is aware who's on the week 2 schedule as far as communication pieces. So if you have not looked at our shared schedule, everyone has access to this piece also. Week 2 coming this week means you're going to read the articles, and by Tuesday you're going to post the information that you summarize and start the discussion on the discussion forum. Regina and Romelia, you have a extra task this week to kind of lead our first discussion. There's great things about going first. It means there's no other examples of someone to tell you what you've done right or wrong. So take a look at our schedule. If you have not taken a look at our schedule so far, make sure you get an opportunity to do that. And then looking just forward over the weeks, you can look at the shared schedule till we get to week 8. Since we're early, the earlier share people, I had 2 people lead the discussion. And as people become more familiar, I've reduced it down to 1 person at a time leading the discussion. Some other things we want to take a look at this week and kind of get the note within our course is that it's really looking at the maker movement and understanding what those opportunities and those pieces are for a classroom and the creativity that can be suggested in a classroom. You don't need a 3D printer or anything of that nature to start a maker space, but something that's kind of cool about maker space is giving people the opportunity to create without unstructured lesson plans and things like that, so that everyone would have the opportunity to go through and kind of create what they feel they need to create. And so you can kind of give themes to students, but it's kind of neat to give them the opportunity to look at and create. Sometimes it's popsicle sticks and glue. Sometimes it's Legos. Sometimes it's robotics. Sometimes it's LEDs and wearable technologies and things along that line. But creating a maker space. So a lot of times people want to spend a lot of money on the 3D printer, and what you get a circle of kids surrounding the 3D printer and watching it move back and forth over the hour or 2 hours or 3 hours to print out, the square box that they've created. And so really kind of take a look at what might be interesting to add in your classroom to kind of give creativity aspects into your individual lessons. Someone who speaks to this really well, there's also the maker space. You can look at their website. They do some good things about the maker spaces themselves, looking at creativity and what creativity can do for the adaptation and learning, what we may have taught out, Sir Ken Robinson, any of his TED Talk videos or his videos or any one of his 4 or 5 books that you want to look at, like The Element, Out of Our Minds, or anything on that line, to kind of focus yourself back into educational technology and what we can really include if we take the opportunity to let people do that. So again, we have some videos, we have some things within our Evernote postings for week 2, talking about and showing you some 3D printing modules, some different ways of doing that. Kind of take a look at that. We talked about our discussion, who's going to lead that. Our timelines are available for you on our module for week 2. And look at some resources that we can, kind of help to lead some of those discussions, along with some of our readings that lead the discussions. Our assignment this week is just doing a SketchUp for 3D printing. The hard part probably this week, something to look at, is when you get into the software itself, make sure you click on it and know how to download the software itself. Either version of the software is fine. For educators, you get a free copy of the SketchUp software. Even if you're a student within the university, you should be able to get a free software update with a printout of your schedule that you can send them for confirmation that you're a student with the university. And then take a look at our rubric for our grading of the modules and pieces, and so you get an understanding of what's expected of you as you move forward with that assignment. Okay. Really what I look for in here is kind of completeness, and you're getting the familiarity with the technology. So kind of keep that in mind. The construction of the drawing, you know, it's clear and it's scaled appropriately. What I do with some of my students in my virtual school is we start out in a robotics maker space where they get to learn how to program a previously constructed robot, and then we build into some 3D modeling to where they actually create a functional robot that would do something for them in their home or maybe in a workplace. And so that's kind of like what we're looking for in that idea. But I said, look at the elements to receive full points. Make sure that you have a good understanding of that.